Good afternoon. Today we're going to be doing a presentation on content area literacy. The school that I chose to work with was Hamilton Township School District in Mays Landing, New Jersey. The reason I chose this school was because friends of mine work there. It's very close to me. I know a little bit about it, although I'm not currently teaching in this school. I chose to do this one. I talked to vice principals and got their opinion on what we should be working on. I also looked at their professional development plan for the year 2013-2014. So we came up with content area literacy, integrating it into all subjects. So here we go. Integrating literacy into all content areas is what the presentation is going to be about today. So why should we be integrating literacy into the content areas? Content areas being social studies, science, math, etc. Even the specialist areas of art and music. So how do schools and school districts to respond to the ever-increasing challenge of meeting state and national standards in content areas while at the same time improving students' literary skills is the question. Considerable research supports the integration of reading and content area instruction. So they want to combine the both, and in order to improve literacy, we need to put it into all areas. Every teacher, administrator, teacher's aide, parent, and student needs to be on board in order for this to work and in order for our students to become better readers. When? This is the year. This is now. The NCLB goal is to produce higher achievement in all content areas, particularly literacy. This year, by the end of this year, 2013, 2014, it was said that all students are to be 100% proficient on state assessments. So here's now, and we need to get working. What? The content in which you teach. All of the subject areas need to get literacy involved as much as possible, and I'm going to be giving you suggestions as to what you can do. How? This is where literacy instruction comes in. There are endless numbers of engaging effects, strategies to get students to think about, write about, read about, and talk about the content in which you teach. The ultimate goal of literacy instruction is to build students' comprehension, writing skills, and overall skills in communication. And again, we're going to give you some suggestions on how you can integrate into your content area specifically. So ask yourself, as a teacher, think about it. How do I mostly convey information and knowledge to my students? Do I primarily go straight to lecture or teacher talk? Do I allow multiple opportunities for students to discover information on their own? Think about where you are. Do you do the first one more often? Do you just lecture, students are listening, not much response, or do you tend to do the second one where students can dissect the information more? This is a study done in a school, Herbert Hoover High School in San Diego, California. As a school, they realized that they were in trouble, and they came up with a plan. They were in trouble, their scores were down, they felt as if children weren't getting the best education, they weren't learning as much as they should be. So they came up with a plan in all content areas. The school, on every level, collaborated and came up with 7 literacy strategies that worked for them. This is what they came up with. The 7 were read-alouds or shared readings, KWL charts, graphic organizers, vocabulary instruction, writing to learn, structured note-taking, and reciprocal teaching. Every teacher and all content areas agreed on these 7 together. They collaborated, they came up with them together, so it was a group effort. They all decided that this is what we're going to work on, and the results were higher test scores and more cohesive curriculum across the board. And in the article it said that teachers and the atmosphere even turned around and they felt more comfortable. It was a happier place to be after everybody collaborated and worked together. So here are some tips for all content areas: math, language arts, social studies, science, art, music, physical education, and more. I came up with some basic ones, and they can be used basically across the board here. And here we go. For speaking, this is something you can do in all of your areas, whether it's math, language. Here we go. Think, pair, share. When we think, pair, share, you are giving the students information. You technically pair them up together, they discuss about it, and then they open up and share. It gives the students an opportunity to talk on their own, to discuss. Another one is elbow partner, which is another basically discussion with each other. They say to use the partner that's nearest your elbow. You can prompt them, or whatever you're working on, give them a discussion to work on. Shoulder share is similar to the elbow share. Chunk and chew, which I actually liked, and I thought it would be better for adolescents, a little bit older, middle school, where if a teacher's lecturing, you give them a chunk of information, not too much. So you would think about your lecture, break it down maybe into 3 sections, 4 sections, whatever you think your students can handle. Give them the information, maybe have them work in a group to chew it up and just dissect it, and you can come back together and deliver it. For writing, you can give them quick writes. So even in math, I would do this a lot. In the beginning of class, they would have to write about what they learned the previous day. So they're quickly writing about something, and it's pertaining to math. Stop and jots. When you're reading, have a journal in your science. If you're doing a science lesson and you're reading your first content area, you can have them stop, jot down a sentence as to what they think they just read, or your prompt. 1-minute essays, time them. A lot of times these are good for openers in classes, beginning lessons. Again, maybe write 1 minute about what you learned yesterday, or maybe 1 minute about, maybe if you have your topic up on the board, if it's going to be triangles today, 1 minute, write about what you think we may learn about today. Graffiti conversations, which I thought were really cool, and another thing for adolescents maybe, or even the younger students, this is where they draw and they write at the same time. So if you're learning something in social studies and you want them to deliver it to you, instead of just writing about it, they can include drawings too, to get their ideas across. Some kids that are particularly good at art would really enjoy this. So we're moving on to reading. Again, we're reading in all areas, so some things you can do in your classroom. Previewing the text, as always. Preview the text before you read, look through, look at the pictures, discuss, converse about what you think they may be reading about. Reading for a purpose, set the purpose. Today we're going to find, about, in science, we're going to find out about, make a hypothesis, and we're going to set the purpose. It's going to be on the board, and this is what we're reading for today. Making predictions and connections. Before reading again, predict as to what you think what's going to happen. At the end, wrap it all up and see if you connected it together. Think aloud, which is very important for the teacher to model. While you're reading, think about what you're reading and explain to them how you're reading. And they gain better understanding, and they, again, will start to do this actually. And using graphic organizers in all content areas is very effective and very easy to do. So these are the few suggestions that you can do in your content area. In the content area, here are some other focus skills that we can do in reading and writing. At the top it says focus students' attention on words, patterns, and rules. At the younger age, we do this all the time. We need to keep it going through the elementary to middle school level still. Focus the kids on the patterns and words. Next, provide students with lots of practice with oral and written language. This is what this is all about. They need to read and write as much as possible in all content areas. Show students how to make meaning with their texts and construct meaning through their writing. So reading and writing goes hand in hand. Whenever they're reading something, always have them writing about it. Help students to develop multiple strategies for reading and writing. So comprehension strategies. They need to have many tools at their hands that they can use. If something's maybe not working, they can use something else to fully understand. Teach students to adapt their reading and writing strategy appropriately. So if they have all these tools, they need to know when is best to use a certain tool. Teach students to become good critical thinkers. They need to question why they're reading, they need to question, and they will start to understand. Struggling readers and writers. I know a lot of time in the content areas they say how do we deal with or address these struggling readers and writers. Here are some few suggestions. Scaffolding, you need to work with them and work with them closely to get them to become better readers and writers. Explicit instruction, modeling and demonstrating is really important. The more you model and demonstrate, the easier it will become for them. Guided practice and using the writing process. When it comes to writing, it's very important to continue to use the process. Linguistically and cultural different learners. These are different types of learners also that may not be speaking English as well. Learners that have different cultures and backgrounds than the majority can also be a challenge. With them, they suggest a lot of conversation in the classroom. Talking is the best for those ELL students when English is their second language. Vocabulary needs to be stressed at all times. They need to be immersed in vocabulary in every content area, and also working on comprehension skills and strategies. Okay, so this is my last warning here. Most importantly, when this is all said and done, we need to get the students to acquire a love for reading and knowledge in all subject areas. So find something that they're interested in and go with that. Get them to love reading. Here are resources for each content area that I came up with. I will be emailing this whole presentation to the school. Each teacher, these are links that each content area can click on and gain some knowledge as to how to start to integrate more literacy into their classroom. So for example, here with social studies, here's the link. And I gave you a little synopsis. It's 30 strategies and activities that may be used to teach the historical and social sciences. So it starts you out with 30 right there. In science, these are common core tips for integrating literacy, math, utilizing reading strategies in math classroom, art, 8 tips to build art knowledge through literacy. Music, again, is 8 tips to build music through literacy knowledge. And physical education, which this website was really great. This was a teacher that made this website up, and she had some really, really great ideas for physical education and how to integrate literacy. And it was called Supporting Literacy Through Physical Education. So those are the resources, and here are my references that I used for the presentation. And that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.